Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
Okay, this just in.
Senator Rand Paul today made a strong attempt to vitiate the credibility of former CIA Director John Brennan, saying that he's, and I quote, monetizing his security clearance and that it should be removed from him. He even called on the president to do this. Will the president consider Senator Paul's suggestion and call for the removal of former Director Brennan's security clearance?
Not only is the president looking to take away Brennan's security clearance, he's also looking into the clearances of Comey, Clapper, Hayden, Rice, and McCabe. The president is exploring the mechanisms to remove security clearance because they've politicized and in some cases monetized their public service and security clearances. Making baseless accusations of improper contact with Russia or being influenced by Russia against the president is extremely inappropriate, and the fact that people with security clearances are making these baseless charges provides inappropriate legitimacy to accusations with zero evidence.
Oh my God.
Free speech he doesn't like, and he wants to punish them for it.
No, I think you are creating your own story there. The president doesn't like the fact that people are politicizing agencies and departments that are specifically meant to not be political and not meant to be monetized off of security clearances.
Holy crap, man. Oh, my God. Oh, okay. The president doesn't like that the former security apparatus. I don't even know how to. Oh my God. He politicizes DOJ. He politicizes NSA. He put a Russian collaborator. And as the national security advisor, the man pled guilty, for God's sake. His campaign manager was a Russian operative. Carter Page, obviously, was writing letters as early as 2013 saying that he advises the Kremlin, and he was included. Papadopoulos was talking. I mean, what is... Oh, my God. Wow. The president is going to remove the security clearances from the former CIA director, the former DNI, Brennan and Clapper and Andy McCabe and Comey and Susan Rice and all. What is... Holy crap. Well, here's James Clapper talking about how he feels about it.
Mr. Clapper, you are apparently now on a list, according to the White House, as of 2 minutes ago. They would like to revoke your security clearance. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's kind of interesting news. I'm reading it and learning about it just as you are. I think it's, off the top of my head, it's kind of a sad commentary where, for political reasons, this is a kind of a petty way of retribution, I suppose, for speaking out against the president, which I think are on the part of all of us, are born out of genuine concerns about President Trump.
Sarah Sanders, one of the words she used, I'll just fill you in as you're getting this information, she referred to you guys all as politicizing and that you've essentially monetized your security clearance by, you along with a number of these other folks on the screen come on TV, paid contributor, with the security clearance to say how you feel about the president. And they don't like it, apparently.
Well, the security clearance has nothing to do with
Hayden too?
How I or any of us feel about the president. And I don't get clearance briefings. I don't have access to any classified information. It's frankly more of a courtesy that former senior officials in the Intelligence Committee are extended the courtesy of keeping a security clearance. Haven't had occasion to use it. And it has no bearing whatsoever on, my regard or lack thereof for President Trump or what he's doing.
Oh my God! This is literally endangering our national security, because you have a breadth and depth of information that these people possess, and they don't go on television and talk about things that aren't public. Obviously, they all say, well, we can't discuss, what we heard. We can only talk about what's already been made public. But here's a couple of tweets now. Andrew McCabe, he's on the list too. So here's the list. Brennan, Clapper, Susan Rice, the former national security advisor to Obama, Andy McCabe, the former acting director of the FBI, Comey, the FBI director, Hayden, who is also a national security advisor. Let's see. Hayden says, I don't go back for classified briefings. It won't have any effect on what I say or write. So there's Hayden, who's a former national security advisor. And McCabe, he says his security clearance was taken away when he was terminated. And they said, you would think the White House would check with the FBI before trying to throw shiny objects to the press corps. Yeah, you would. I mean, this president has no earthly idea what he's doing. That's the sad truth. And I tell you, over the weekend, both parties were criticizing this president pretty severely. On Fox News Sunday, Trey Gowdy said this just can't continue, and that the president's, changing one line from would to wouldn't just isn't going to cut the smell past the smell
evidence
test.
is overwhelming. It can be proven beyond any evidentiary burden that Russia is not our friend and they tried to attack us in 2016. So the president either needs to rely on the people that he has chosen to advise him, or those advisors need to reevaluate whether or not they can serve in this administration. But the disconnect cannot continue. The evidence is overwhelming, and the president needs to say that and act like it.
Oof. That's the alien boy Trey Gowdy with the with the interesting hairdozy. I mean, they all have such interesting hairdoosies, don't they? But that was Trey Gowdy, and then he went on to say that Dan Coates was caught by surprise, and that should never happen.
We have some breaking news. The White House has announced on Twitter that Vladimir Putin is coming to the White House in the fall.
Say that again? Okay.
Yeah.
That's going to be special.
Now, the DNI released a statement last night apologizing, saying he didn't mean to be critical or disrespectful in his reaction and response. But do you think it's strange that the Director of National Intelligence didn't know about the invite before it went out?
I do think it's strange. I also think this, Brett. I think that the United States of America sometimes has to meet with people that we don't have anything in common with. I think our president has to meet with the leader of North Korea. We have to meet with a leader from Iran. But it's very different to issue an invitation. This country is different. We do things differently. We set the moral standard for the rest of the world. The fact that we have to talk to you about Syria or other matters is very different from issuing an invitation. Those should be reserved for, I think, our allies like Great Britain and Canada and Australia and those who are with us day in and day out. I think we should be very judicious in who we invite and place that imprimatur of acceptance on. So I would hope the president would keep that in mind if we're issuing invitations to foreign leaders.
Whoops. Trey Gowdy, Mr. Benghazi himself, sitting there going, you don't invite Putin to the White House. I mean, that's you got to talk to him, because you got to talk to him about Syria, you got to talk to him about Iran, you got to talk to him about this or that. But you don't issue an invitation to the guy who, beyond a shadow of a doubt, attacked the United States with a cyber attack during our election, on our elections. I mean, when Trey Gowdy, oh my God, and here are lawmakers from both parties over the weekend.
The evidence is overwhelming. It can be proven beyond any evidentiary burden that Russia is not our friend and they tried to attack us in 2016. So the president either needs to rely on the people that he has chosen to advise him, or those advisors need to reevaluate whether or not they can serve in this administration. But the disconnect cannot continue. The evidence is overwhelming, And the president needs to say that and act like it.
The behavior that I saw from the president on television, rather than standing up for our allies, rather than hammering Putin for the way that he's tried to influence our elections and undermine our democracy, and instead just cozies up to this dictator. Russia's the greatest enemy of the United States for the last 65 years. The fact that we have to question the integrity, the honesty, and the loyalty of a commander-in-chief when it comes to dealing with Russia is a problem in and of itself.
He's acting like someone who's compromised, and it may very well be that he is compromised, or it may very well be that he believes that he's compromised, that the Russians have information on him. We were not permitted to look into one of the allegations that was most serious to me, and that is, were the Russians laundering money through the Trump Organization? The Republicans wouldn't allow us to go near that. I hope that Bob Mueller's investigating it because, again, if that's the leverage the Russians are using, it would not only explain the president's behavior, but it would help protect the country by knowing that, in fact, our president was compromised.
He's changed his mind 4 times this week.
Oh, my God.
I'm glad that he's willing to walk things back and say he misspoke if it makes us stronger. I'd given anything if President Obama would have changed his mind when it came to withdrawing troops. He was told, if you do this, it'll be a disaster. He did it anyway. President Trump at least is willing to change. But what I think he needs to do is lead this nation to make sure that the 2018 election is protected, and he needs to be the leader of the movement, not brought to the dance reluctantly.
Lindsey Graham, he's changed his mind 4 times. Trey Gowdy, for God's sake, saying, he needs to act like he's not compromised. You expect Adam Schiff to say something about, we don't know if he's compromised because we weren't allowed to bring witnesses. Every time we would ask for somebody, they'd say no. But maybe Trump thinks he's compromised because he knows what he did over there, or he knows what he said on the phone, or he knows what Carter Page was caught saying on the phone, or he knows what Papadopoulos was caught saying. He knows that his son was hosting the Russians at Trump Tower, and he knows that his son was in touch with WikiLeaks. He knows that he was briefed by senior intelligence, by Brennan and Clapper and Susan Rice and Hayden in August of 2016. And the intelligence community that briefed Donald Trump about Russians are trying to infiltrate your campaign, sir, also briefed Hillary Clinton, the same, briefed Obama, the same. Trump got that briefing because he was already the GOP nominee. Over the weekend, Trump is saying, why didn't Obama tell me? He did tell him. And that just shows you anything that Trump says is meaningless. It's a lie. It's just, he pulls it out of that giant ass of his and just throws it on the Twitters, But it's not true. He was briefed. And after Trump was briefed, his son contacted WikiLeaks. After. Go to RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.